we're just going to get right into it. No sugarcoating. You don't need an introductory chapter saying why you should run Facebook ads, why I'm qualified to. You're going to see by yourself that I'm qualified to teach you this. And I'm going to use a few examples from leaders in the industry here to show you how it all works, right? So I assume if you're watching this, it's more a little bit of an advanced course. So you have an idea of your ideal client. You already know who you want to sell it to, but we're going to give you some examples for you to get used to it. So this is essentially the dumbed down version of what it looks like, right? So we're going to start right here. Cold traffic, pay ads, do Facebook, Meta, Instagram, same thing. They're all the same platform, but there's tricks to it. So one thing that you need to know and keep in mind is 99% of the cold traffic is disqualified. And your duty as the marketer is to make them qualified, right? It's to go for the qualified people. You don't want poor people trying to buy your stuff, your expensive stuff. You want poor people to buy your cheap stuff. And we're going to get to that as well. So 99% of the cold traffic is disqualified. And there are ways that you can find out to implement a strategy to actually make them more qualified, like I do for my clients. And they're super grateful because out of 10 calls that we book, 2 are disqualified because they lie on the application. So let's just get right into this. My hair is a mess today. Don't care. We're just here to give value. So a lot of people say that cold traffic is hard, but it's only hard because of a major factor, trust. That's it. Cold traffic is only difficult because of trust. And trust levels in the marketplace right now have been in an all-time low, right? People rather buy from people that they have been seen in the past, right? And how we can actually trick this and create trust from thin air, right? We want to make money from thin air, but first we need to create trust, right? So content is the answer. So what works for content will always work for ads. However, what works for ads will not always work for content. So that's why you actually have to have content, because that will be the spine of your business. So people, when they look at your profile, they're like, okay, I like this ad, but let me see what this guy's talking about. Then you go into your Instagram page, you go into your Facebook page, you go into your Twitter page, LinkedIn, whatever it may be, wherever place whatever link you have there, they're going to do the research, because people are not stupid, right? You don't want to be called to make a decision. You want to make a decision on their own. You cannot convince them to trust you. It's the same thing as a killer comes to you and say, hey, you can trust me, I'm not going to kill you, but you know damn well he will, right? So content is the spine. It's basically the foundation of your ads. So if you don't have content, it will be a little bit more difficult for you to run ads. But there's ways that you can go about that. For an example, you can mass spam reels on an account for a little while, verify it, start running a small budget campaign just to bring traffic to your page, and people are going to start seeing your content and start trusting it, because this is top of the funnel. Unaware people, right? So what works for content will always work for ads. So we start from the principle that your content is educational, right? So you're educating people on a subject. You're trying to help them solve a problem or something like that. Hey, like if you're a business owner, this is how you can get more qualified leads using Facebook ads that I'm going to show you right now. And you just show them, actually. And they're going to come to the conclusion they cannot do this themselves. And that's where you come in. You sell them something, right? Because they have a problem. You just created a problem right there. Hey, this guy's teaching me how to do Facebook ads, but I don't know how to do it. Maybe he can do it for me, right? For a small bargain. Start thinking like that. So there are 5 stages of customer awareness, right? As you guys probably know, if you have any background in marketing. If you don't, then now you will know. So there are 5 stages. Can I make this thicker? Yeah, there we go. There are 5 stages of customer awareness. So there are the unaware, the problem aware, solution aware, product aware, impulse aware. Now, if you don't know what these are, I'll try to simplify this to you, but you should by now. If you're watching this, you definitely should know this by now. So unaware are the people that have no idea of a product or a solution or a problem. They're top of the funnel. They're clueless. They have no idea who you are. They have no idea what you do and how you do it, right? So they're just not in the market for anything. So how do you make these people problem aware? You bring the problem up in your top of funnel campaigns, right? Hey, you're a business owner, and do you think you're not making as much money as you think you should be? Oh, I don't think I am. Or coaches, you're not meant to run a business because you are too silly to run a business. You just want to coach. That is true. I really don't know how to run a business. So maybe there's a solution for that. So they're problem aware right there. Now they're aware that they have a problem, right? Now, when they're problem aware, they're going to start seeking for solutions. This is starting going down the funnel. This is a funnel if you haven't noticed yet. As weird as it looks. So when they're problem aware, they're going to start looking for a solution in the marketplace. And that's when you have ads for solutions, right? Like I wouldn't say this is in the middle of the funnel, but you can show the solution. There's a solution for your problem, Mr. Coach or Mr. Business Owner. And they're going to be like, okay, cool. What is it? And then they're going to learn about your product that solves their problem. And they're going to be solution aware. Once they're solution aware, then you're going to be basically teaching them that your product is different than other solutions in the market, right? That's when it gets a little bit tricky. That's when offers come to play. When offers come to play is what I'm talking about is, we'll get you 20 qualified appointments in your calendar or you don't pay. This is an offer. Ridiculous. Also, you don't pay. You're always paying, dude. I'm serving you, right? No, don't fall for that trap. So this is an offer. For an example, we will set up a unique mechanism for outreach in your business, and you will pay for every qualified call that we bring in. So the solution, that's an offer, right? So this is to differentiate yourself from the market, right? And then once they like your little hook, because the offer is usually the hook that gets people into your product. Once they like that stuff, you're going to start looking into your stuff and see the features, right? So then to become product aware. Once they're product aware and they already done their research, they're most aware. They're ready to buy. They're just looking for the right fit, right? They're in the market. They got cash and they're looking for somebody to give that cash to solve their little headache, right? So this is essentially how the funnel works, right? Now, the content that works for ads and the ads that do not work for content and vice versa. I think I can use that term there. Usually in cold traffic, you're selling the click. So think about it this way. On YouTube, how do you determine a video is interesting before you click on it? Always ask yourself that. It's probably the title, the thumbnail, who the channel is, right? I care about that stuff. I'm not watching Dan Graziosi, whatever. Just an example. I don't even know what the guy does. So that's just an example. So I would personally try to find somebody that resonates with me, or a title that resonates with me, or a thumbnail that actually looks pretty good. And I think the worst kind of thumbnail that I've seen is when people put striped little transactions on it that are clearly not real, but I guess they work, right? Anyway, usually on cold traffic, you're selling to click. A good analogy for cold traffic is your ad is supposed to work like your subject line in a cold email. This is good. If you have any background in cold email, you'll understand what I'm saying. If not, just move on, okay? Just ignore. However, you're selling the hook. You're selling the click, right? So once you get the click, right, then they come in. However, in ads, it's volume, right? They're just going to be shooting everywhere. Your ads are going to be shown to every kind of people. However, there is a way that you can go about that to only target the people that you want. And I'll show you in the next episode. However, let's keep carrying on. So if you have a cold email background, volume is king. You know that. And ads does that for you automatically, right? It's not going to be as direct because you have this entire process here that you have to go through. However, unlike cold email, we don't have, different stuff to worry about. It's just a set it and forget, right? And it's not like I have to provide Facebook with a lead list or something like that, even though you very well could help target those people, which is a little bit of a hack sometimes depending on your offer, right? So your volume, instead of being in context, it has to be in creatives and copywriting and different landing pages because you need to track the conversion, right? And these are the three main pillars for your cold email, cold traffic campaigns. Let me move this camera right here. These are the three main pillars. So the first one is the creative. Remember, you're selling the click. The creative has to look good. That's why user-generated content is so good, because they look like reels. So you're just scrolling and you find an ad and you're like, oh crap, this guy's educating me on something. And then you hang around and then you end up clicking on his stuff because you thought it was a reel. You got fooled. Simple as that. Anyway, if you ever fell for that, then you know that it's true. It works. So listen to me. You're being my lab rat here because I know how your little mind works, your little TikTok brain works. So you're supposed to sell the clicks, so you need to create something compelling that will break/interrupt the pattern or blend in. I should have added that here. Remember, we're advertising in social media. Nobody is actually looking to buy something when they're on social media. They need to feel good. How do you make them feel good? With a nice creative. Okay. Now let's move on to the copy. Copy is the second most important part. Just like cold email. I will keep using this analogy because I'll know a lot of people that are going to come to watch this know how cold email works. If you don't, that's fine. That's totally fine. The principles are the same. You need to deliver a value proposition over text. And if it's user-generated content in the creative itself, right? So a value proposition, you need to educate them, right? Show them, what it is, how it is, what it does, how they can benefit from it. That's it. Like, what's in it for me? Always ask always ask the question when you're running ads. What's in it for me from an audience perspective, from a watcher perspective, from a viewer perspective, right? This is the one that pushes the envelope further. So your writing or your ads they need to be personable, right? They need to super lethal. They need to be lethal. They need to come in and create the intrigue, right? The curiosity, and then show them hey, this is it. You want it. I know you want it, right? So a rule that I like to use for this is I wasn't supposed to do this here live, but I'm going to do it. So a good rule for copywriting is the DIC, dig. So the D stands for disrupt. The I stands for intrigue. The C goes for call to action. So that's essentially what you're looking to do. You disrupt, you intrigue, and there's a call to action. However, if I were to give you a copywriting class right here, then it wouldn't work. You need to be personal. You cannot write robotically. That's why OpenAI and ChatGPT, all that stuff, they are not capable of actually producing excellent copy. They're able to make some copy, but not excellent. That's my take. That's what I've seen. You can tell whenever somebody is using AI on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, you can tell. So please save yourself that. So you can use it to create an outline for you, but don't let it write for you, right? The art of copy is selling through words. And if you're bad at sales overall, then this is just not going to work, buddy. Either way, the landing page is where the value is. This is what they're signing up for. Remember, what's in it for me? This is what they're in for. The landing page is where the value is. This is for another class, but you need to show that you're an expert. I'll show on the following class why. However, let's take a look at some ads here, right? This is from a leader in the industry. I really like these guys' content. They're from Savvy Capital, right? You've probably seen this guy on Twitter as well. So over $200 million. Let's go over the copy first. Over $200 million raised in the past 2 years. Doing what? right? They're like, oh, wait, remember, disrupt? They're intrigued already too, because this is good. Raise capital efficiently in the shortest amount of time possible, regardless of industry, region, I was going to say religion, stage, or deal type in all market conditions. Perfect. This is the perfect dick right here, DIC, right? Remember? Disrupt, intrigue, call to action. So we're getting to the call to action still. So there's some case studies, right? They're intrigued, like, okay, these companies getting some crazy results, right? Now, what do I do next? Oh, hey, Mr. Reader, this is what you do. Click learn more to become our next success story. Okay, awesome. Their ad is phenomenal. I'm not going to go over it right now. I'm going to do a creative module for you guys to understand what direct response advertising is. And yeah, their creative is super highly qualifying. They're already, hey, if you don't have $15,000 to $20,000 to invest, don't even waste your time. Move. We don't want you, right? This is what you're doing, qualifying. Remember, 99% of the traffic is disqualified. You need to remember that. Don't forget. And you can apply that to your creatives. Not can, but you should. You must. So the landing page, this is where they are delivering the value, right? So discover how our team consummated. They're catering to their ideal prospect here so well. Look at how he's dressed. Look at the verbiage. Look at all the copy. Everything is perfect. The color scheme. This looks professional, right? I don't think any of you guys, Twitter LARPers, would be capable of making something this professional and corporate. Mind you guys that these guys are 5 years younger than me. Yeah. So discover how our team has consummated 500 million plus in transactions agnostic to vertical, deal stage, and geographical region. I know Luis wrote this because this is exactly how he talks. So watch the 5-minute video below to learn how we can help you efficiently raise capital. This is value packed. This video is actually excellent. Look at the background, the clothes, the way he's positioned, a little water cup there. He looks like a senator. Badass. Like, it looks like he works in the chamber. I'm not glazing. I'm not degrading. These are great. If you fail to acknowledge that, then there's clearly a problem with you. Anyway, this is essentially the whole system that you need, right? So recapping, 99% of the cold traffic is disqualified. You need to have content for legitimacy. And what works for ads will not always work for content, but what works for content will always work for ads. Usually you're selling the click, sell the click, right? And volume. Your volume must be on creatives, copy, and different landing pages. You gotta always have variations of that and see how they're performing, because every little change that you make in your creative or copy or the landing page will actually influence how many conversions you get, right? So we're going to review somebody's entire funnel. I have a few contenders that I want to look at so you guys can learn a thing or two. This is where it starts to get a little bit into the advanced side of things, right? Because running ads is one thing, creating landing pages is one thing, creating ad creatives is one thing. So everything is a different section. And I'm trying to give this in a way that you can actually have a grasp of all of them so you can do this properly, right? And it's very difficult for me to do so because I don't know what you know. So I'll try to be as thorough as possible, but without wasting a lot of time, right? So we're just going to get right into it. I was thinking, I was just on my way back home, and I was like, dude, how am I going to explain to these people that there are different types of funnels for different types of purposes, that you can actually make money on the front end or back end, and then the money they make on the front end goes to your ad budget, and then the money they make on the back end becomes your profit, and so forth, right? It's very difficult, like, quite frankly. So I'm going to be super basic right here. I'm just going to review a few funnels, and we're going to have an idea of how it all works, right? So let's get right into this. Okay, so we're here at the Meta Ads library. You can just get on this page by doing this. Look up Meta Ads library on Google. You click on the first thing that shows up on Facebook, and we're right in here. Now, United States, you can, just pick them. We're in the United States, so we're just going to leave it as that. Now, all ads, and we're going to look for some guy. These guys, I really like their work. You can just put a page or something, right? A page or a topic or a niche or something like that. I really like these guys, actually, Louise in specific, because their ads are fire, absolute fire. So there's definitely something you should learn from these guys. It's how direct they are, how they actually carry themselves on social media, because they're 20 to 24 years old, and they position themselves as old, C-suite kind of guys that are targeting B2B companies, like big corporations, right? And they're in the fundraising niche, right? So let's take a look at one of these ads, right? This is a good ad. This is new, by the way. Very quick and easy. All right, so let's break this down. So public, right? They're finding their ideal client profile, right? They're just calling everybody out, just a call out, right? Raising the 10 to 250 million. Depth and equity. We get terms quick. 150 million terms in 45 days. Packages start at 25K upfront and 4%. It doesn't get more specific than this. Anybody with less than $25,000 to give upfront, they're not going to click on this. And look who they're targeting. Hint, 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 hint. So very, 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 very good creative. The audio was a little bit messed up in one of them, but it's okay. Let's see another one. Sweet. Same thing. I don't need to break this down for you. These are excellent, right? Here's the thing, guys. Well, a friend of mine today told me like, oh yeah, guys, like gotta test 200 different creatives. Brother, you gotta test 200 different creatives in a competitive industry like e-commerce. Like, this is not for e-commerce. I'm not a fucking degenerate that's gonna teach people e-commerce ads, okay? Because e-commerce sucks. Let's be fair. Oh yeah, but e-commerce, this e-commerce. No, suck my dick, bro. I'm not putting all kinds of money on ads and product and stock and all that. No. Okay, I'm not developing a personal brand that I want to sell supplements in a cringy perfume that says her loss. Nigga, no. Okay, all respect to the guy there. Like, he made a fortune out of it. Fantastic, but no, not doing that. We're not doing that here. That's not what this video is for. This one is good, right? Little carousel, static ads. These have been performing excellently lately, right? Just a little notes from iPhone screenshots, and that's it. They've been performing excellent, right? So these are the creatives so far. Very good creatives, right? Very informative. We brought in the first mini term sheets for 150 million power deal in 4 weeks. If you're looking for debt for your deal, or fees start at 25,000 plus percentage of raise, book a call today. A little call to action, right? This is all, it's a creative with more effort into copywriting, right? And we're going to get to the copywriting very shortly. Let's see another one. This one used to be their main one here, right here. This is excellent. This is excellent. Company, we just brought on Sky. Pay close attention to how he speaks, how he's dressed, the setting, the transitions, the captions, everything. If you're looking to raise between $1 and $100 million for your company, we just brought on Sky H2O, which in the first 2 months of working with us, we were able to generate them more than $30 million in interest for their round. Because of how hands-on what we do is, we can only take on a select few number of clients every single month, and we charge between $10,000 and $25,000 for setup and due diligence fees. So if you're looking to be our next success story and you're raising between $1 and $100 million, then go down below and book in a time to speak with our team today. If you're looking to raise between $1 and $100 million, fantastic. He just knows how to carry it. So I'm not glazing, okay? Like, let's be completely, like, take this off the books here. Like, not off the books, but address. I'm not glazing this guy by any means, but what he does is phenomenal. This is peak acting. I know he took acting classes. His verbiage, the way he speaks, the way he moves, everything is on point, okay? So let's look for the first section. If you're looking to raise between $1 and $100 million for your company, calling out the audience. If you're looking to raise $1 million to $150 million to your company, startups, companies, tech companies, whatever the fuck it may be, right? They're already calling them out. These people know who they are. These people know who he's calling out. We just brought on Sky H2O, which in the first credibility, testimonial, little case study there. 2 months of working with us, we were able to generate them more than $30 million in interest for their round. Because of how hands-on. Impressive results. Because of how hands-on the process is, we can only take on a select few number of clients. Scarcity, right? Scarcity. Some people say scarcity. I say scarcity. I don't care. I only speak English because that's the only language you guys can understand, okay? So, scarcity, right? It creates a sense of urgency. So people are going to be like, oh my God, like I want to be selected subconsciously. Like that happens. Like if I was in the industry and I saw that, I'd be like, okay, fuck, I got to do it. Like I got to raise capital for my something. Oh, I'm about to sneeze and pause. Okay, we sneezed. So, clients every single month, and we charge between $10,000 and $25,000. We charge between $10,000 and $20,000 in due diligence fees. So if you're looking to be, this is quite simple. You're already narrowing everybody the fuck down. So let me break something down here for you. Let me open my Miro board. So it's a mess here. Don't even look. It's quite simple. It is quite simple. So what you're going to do is, if you have a good ad and you're calling out an audience with a good offer. I don't even think I need Miro for this. But so you can understand, right? This is the most important El Salvador. What the fuck? How did I get there? If you have a good offer, it's going to be a lot easier to run ads because there is a few things that people are looking for. A good offer is a good offer when it's been validated in the past, when people shown interest on organic, or you ran a test campaign to see how it's performing. If you have deep pockets or even little, $50, $100 a day just to see how it is, great. Now, the offer is going to do probably 60% of your hard work, right? Because if you have a good offer, all you have to do is make people watch your ad. And once they watch your ad, you already have a good offer to back up. So you don't even need that many creatives, right? To test things out and stuff. As long as you're getting a 2.5% click-through rate and above, you're fine. And the click-through rate, it's directly affected by the offer, right? What you're offering them. And the creative is your way to communicate to your prospect, to whoever the fuck is watching, that your offer is banger, okay? That your offer is fantastic. That is your job, okay? So remember when I said volume for all this stuff, it's important. An offer will tank all of those. Because if you have a good offer, you can create a good creative and you can run ads and you won't spend as much money to get the same results, right? And what happens after they click is where it gets tricky. However, we're not going to get there just yet. Okay. So if you have a good offer, you are going to dominate the market. Now let's go back to there. Now, what I can do is I think I can. Okay, perfect. So they have some links here. So fundraiser demo call, their privacy policy that they actually have to put in every ad. Now, I want to see their landing page. Okay. Okay, they changed that. Okay, this is their old website. I know that. Let's write.
If your clean tech company is raising equity or debt, between $1 and $100 million, we can guarantee you at least 10 meetings with firms and institutions that can close your entire round, like we just did for Select Fuel, which got 20 meetings since January 1st, including BlackRock, for a total of $50 million in interest. Or Sky H2O, which got 10 meetings and $10 million in interest, like I said, since January 1st. If you're interested in learning more, we charge a minimum engagement fee of $15,000. If we don't get you that 10 meetings, we will double that engagement fee that you spent with us.
Low guarantee there.
Learning more, just go down below and schedule in a time to speak.
Same thing, bro. Same thing. Like these ads are good. I know they tried some different ads that didn't perform as well, I'm sure. Now, because they re-updated this stuff and it's fine. Like that's how it works. And ad's not performing, then you swap for a different ad. Yeah. So let's see. Savvy Capital. They have 2 pages. Okay. I don't think I can find it, but I'm sure I left it over here. Okay, so remember this board from the first module? This is their landing page, right? So there's a video sales call right here, teaching them, you know, what people need to learn. This looks fantastic, right? So I don't remember what website this is. Give me a moment. Let me see. Okay, found it. Look at how beautiful this looks. This is great. This is fantastic, right? Like the level of effort here, right? This is fantastic. And this is important in B2B because it gives the credibility you need. So right here, they can just book a call here, super easy, get in touch, whatever. Locations, capital raises, engagement and deals. I can just show them like all the case studies they work with. I'm sure Sky H2O is here too. So yeah, they just do a very good job.